Right now at 10, I have the very latest on where thunderstorms are in southern Wisconsin, and I'm tracking the end of these storms. And then we're also going to talk about the wintry side of this weather system and more winter-like weather in the forecast.
And community members in Beaver Dam hold a town hall, the concerns they shared over Meta's new data center there.
And the war continues in Iran, how rising oil prices could lead to higher costs elsewhere. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson.
And I'm Eric Franke. We begin with a look at the forecast. Storms moving through southern Wisconsin earlier this evening.
So, Alex, how is the radar looking now, and will we see more storms overnight?
Good news is radar right now is showing a weakening mode with the thunderstorms. That's good news. We don't need the severe weather. And eventually these storms will wrap up here, probably within the next 2 hours overall. We still have one thunderstorm just east of Blanchardville, just to the south and west of Belleville, still trying to hang on to itself over the northwest part of Greene County. Then we head up to the northeast part of Dane County, over towards the Lake Mills area, Johnson Creek, Watertown. Yet another thunderstorm just trying to hang on. It's not severe, but some small hail, frequent lightning, and heavy rainfall, certainly a distinct possibility with those couple of thunderstorms. But as we widen things out, you notice that there's very few and far between thunderstorms. They're isolated at this point in time. All that widespread thunderstorm activity that we've been briefly cutting in for periodically throughout the evening has since moved off to the south and east and has weakened. And what you see here, all these blue dots, are the family of large hail reports that stretch from northwest Illinois all the way up into far southern Wisconsin, where some places, Beloit as an example, saw 1-inch diameter hail. Some areas in northwest Illinois saw 2-inch diameter hail. It was that close by, and that's what prompted those severe thunderstorm warnings. National Weather Service saying that the severe thunderstorm watch, we're going to hang on to that till midnight, so it's about another hour, and so about 2 hours with a little bit of change here. And just in that off chance that we still have a strong storm yet this evening. And then there's the wintry side to this weather system as well. As we head into Wednesday, the rain mixes with and changes over to some wet snow. We could have some slick spots, so beware tomorrow morning. There could be a couple of slick spots. We'll track that using Future Track, and also the potential for an accumulating snow event in our future. That's coming up in a little while.
All right, Alex, thank you. The Meta data center in Beaver Dam has residents seeking more transparency from their city after information about the contract at one point was filled with redactions.
Our Maren Rosen spoke to community leaders and residents at the Juneau Community Center this evening and has more.
Residents of Beaver Dam gathered for a community-led town hall meeting following the approval and construction of a massive AI data center, which residents say advanced without broad public awareness. I spoke to a couple of these residents tonight who shared with me their concerns about the long-lasting impacts this will have on their community.
I'm not opposed to the data center. I am opposed to the way the data centers are approved through the county boards or the town boards or whoever approves them. They're supposed to be representing us, so how do they know what we want if they don't even allow us to talk about it?
To many here, that lack of transparency feels like a betrayal from leaders they elected to represent them. But advocates say Beaver Dam isn't alone and that communities across Wisconsin are being asked to shoulder big projects without full information.
I do feel like you were deliberately left in the dark, and we know that you were because there were NDAs, right? Like, there was deliberate secrecy that happened around the approval of this project.
Statewide, comedian Charlie Behrens has been raising concerns about data centers.
When it comes to these AI data centers, I just want Wisconsin to decide for Wisconsin. I want Beaver Dam to decide for Beaver Dam. I don't want a tech company deciding for you guys.
Behrens says that at the heart of it is whether communities can trust the companies asking them to make sacrifices.
Let's just step back and look at the bigger picture, and that's trust. If a company is going to come in and ask us to sacrifice so much, you gotta be able to trust that company.
Others are focused on very personal, day-to-day impacts.
I'm just concerned about the stray voltage. The power lines are going to come right next to my house. I have 3 little kids that I can't keep shoes on in the summer. They absolutely hate it. They run around barefoot. So I have to be concerned about that.
Residents here, like many others, only learned about the project after it was already moving forward.
Not a single person knew about it. Not a single person knew about it. If we would have known, we could have fought it more.
Even with pushback from the community, a proposal for a second data center is expected to come before the Common Council by the end of this month. Reporting in Juneau, I'm Marin Rosen, News 3 Now.
Marin, thank you. A hold for 3 Janesville schools early this afternoon is over tonight. Police say the hold was the result of a shots fired incident on Clark Street. Now, as a precaution, St. John Vianney School, Roosevelt Elementary, and St. Paul's Lutheran were all on hold. That means normal activities went on inside, but no movement out of the building, temporarily restricted. The students were allowed to leave for the day just after 4 p.m. Now to an update on a crash we told you about last night. One person still in the hospital after this car crashed into a Madison apartment building. Happened in an apartment on Olin Avenue near Goodman Park. Madison Fire says this SUV drove down a hill from the parking lot, crashed into the building. First responders treated one person at the scene, the other still in the hospital. Police now say they did find probable cause that the driver was operating while impaired and may have also suffered a medical event.
The Fitchburg Police Department released its annual report for 2025. It follows a county-wide trend of crime going down. Aggravated assault dropped 62%, car thefts are down 58%, burglaries down 44%. However, drug crimes are up over 100%. And we asked Fitchburg Police what's behind the rise.
Did increase our traffic enforcement in several areas with an emphasis on drugs and firearms. In our annual report of the things that went down, the only ones that really went up are drugs and drug-related offenses, mainly because we were seeking the guns that were typically tied to drug activity.
Fitchburg Police credit collaboration with neighboring departments for the drop in crime overall for the city.
In national news, the Trump administration says it will step up the attacks on Iran until that country is no longer able to strike back. Lawmakers on the Senate Armed Services Committee received a classified briefing on Operation Epic Fury and raised concerns about how long the war might last.
I have to think about what I can and can't say. It is concerning, it is disturbing, and I'm not sure what the end game is or what their plans are.
There's no way you can say you won this war with an Ayatollah in charge. No way you can say that.
President Trump has also threatened to hit Iran, quote, 20 times harder if it does anything to stop the flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz.
And as the war in Iran continues, Americans will likely see everyday prices rise. The cost of jet fuel has surged, jumping 50% during the first week of the war. The rising costs are expected to raise prices for passengers. And the impact doesn't just end at the ticket counter. Energy costs are also expected to increase, affecting your home utility bills.
Going to be seeing higher energy costs, and gasoline is going to be competing with electricity in terms of the leading edge of higher energy costs.
Bank rate experts add that consumers might also see higher prices at the grocery store and anywhere else products need to be shipped.
And spring break travel right around the corner, but lines at security checkpoints are stretching for hours at some airports across the country. Funding for the Department of Homeland Security lapsed, of course, in mid-February amid the standoff between Republicans and Democrats over federal immigration reform. Travel experts say one of the reasons we're seeing long lines now is that TSA workers are set to miss their first paychecks this week.
Which means some of them probably have to call out. Some of them probably have to take other jobs so they can't meet their regular shifts, which has been resulting in bottlenecks at some major airports.
Travel experts add that one way future travelers can prepare for those long lines is simply by staying on top of all of the updates from your airline and the airport.
The Justice Department and Live Nation, that's the company that owns Ticketmaster, have reached a settlement in a major antitrust case. The tentative agreement will require Live Nation to pay as much as $280 million to settle claims. They'll also have to make some changes to the concert and ticketing business, including capping amphitheater service fees at 15%. Opening up to 50% of tickets to other sellers, limits on exclusive contracts, and divesting ownership or control of 13 amphitheaters.
I think that Live Nation can view this settlement largely as a win. They avoid the really draconian penalties that were potentially on the table.
Even if the judge approves this settlement, a coalition of more than 24 states say they will not join it and will move forward with the lawsuit.
Back here in Dade County, a public listening session was held on the proposed renovation of the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. The county working with Frank Productions to complete the project. Frank Productions is owned by Live Nation, and officials discussed plans for stormwater and traffic management, along with the expansion of the exhibition hall.
We're looking at expanding the exhibit space, adding about 50,000 square feet of exhibit space, a 30,000 square foot ballroom, improving and increasing the number of meeting rooms we have, and some of the support staff, or the support structure. So we have a lot of events here, and a lot of our big events have outgrown the space, and we need more space. So.
On top of renovating the Coliseum, Frank Productions owns the Sylvie, the Majestic, and the High Noon Saloon while doing the booking for the Orpheum, Breese Stevens Field, and Camp Randall Stadium.
Former Wisconsin Attorney General Brad Schimmel will not continue as interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Wisconsin. Schimmel was appointed to the position in November by U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. His appointment was never confirmed by the Senate, meaning it would expire March 17th unless a majority of the Eastern District Court's judges approved an extension. According to a message posted on the court's website, the judges opted not to extend Schimmel.
Today, local workers picketed outside a Madison City County building. The rally organized by Worker Justice Wisconsin. The organization says 13 workers employed on Bear Development's Intersect apartment site on Melvin Court were not paid their full wages for over a year. Workers were reportedly owed about $75,000. Worker Justice Wisconsin is now calling on Madison's Common Council to step in and act.
Our sort of ask of the city council is that, and we're working with some of the alders already, but we want a deep partnership. We want to partner with the city to come up with good policy. Being in Wisconsin, preemption complicates many things, right? So the state of Wisconsin took away many powers from local government, but that doesn't mean that local government is without its own tools it can get creative to tackle these issues, right? Like they don't have to give certain projects public money, right?
Bear Development says it has never engaged in wage theft and that the allegations were made without, quote, a shred of evidence or any attempt to contact the company. Next at 10, a federal court rules on the Trump administration terminating Wisconsin's disaster funding.
And the Packers pick up a player on the second day of the NFL's free agency. We'll tell you who's set to wear the green and gold and what position he'll be playing.
And then I turn my attention from the thunderstorms to snowy conditions. That's coming up when I come back in a little bit.
Well, there could be a slick morning commute tomorrow for parts of the viewing area.
Alex, who has the best chance of seeing some ice on our roadways?
Those areas just north of Madison, especially north of the Dells, have that better chance once these thunderstorms end and mix with and change over to some wet snow. Areas north of the Dells stand the better chance of seeing the icy conditions. This just radar updated live here just as we were coming on air here that had one thunderstorm left over near the Monticello area. We swing off towards the north and towards the east, north and east of downtown Madison. We have one lone thunderstorm out just north and east of the Watertown area. And then widening things out here, we're seeing a big downtick in shower and thunderstorm activity. And that's what we said during our 4, 5, and 6 o'clock newscast, that as we head towards 10, 11, 12 o'clock, we would see a significant decrease in thunderstorm activity. But I'm still keeping my eyes on a couple of thunderstorms over parts of northwest Illinois that may clip areas south towards Beloit over towards Elkhorn, areas that saw some severe weather earlier this evening when we were cutting in for large hail. Some of those reports, you see them in basically a line. This is a family of thunderstorms, a family of supercell thunderstorms, rotating storms, and you can have rotating supercell thunderstorms that don't produce tornadoes. In this case, they produce large hail between 1 inch in diameter, 1.5 inches in diameter. Some places in northwest Illinois saw 2-inch diameter hail. According to the National Weather Service, that severe thunderstorm watch till midnight is going to hang on till either A, the storms move out, or B, the watch expires at midnight. And I'll be keeping a very close eye on any of those storms just to make sure that that those storms don't rev back up again and produce that potential for gusty winds. But the main threat, if we get one more or two more severe thunderstorm warnings yet this evening, probably nothing more than that, it would be hail would be the primary concern. Future track shows those showers and thunderstorms really just dwindling and moving off to the east, especially once we get past midnight. And then we turn our attention to the wintry side of this weather system, filling back in with a mix of rain, changing over to wet snow. As I mentioned, areas north and west see that change over first, so perhaps a little bit of slushy accumulation and some slick spots, especially north and west of Madison, north and west of the Dells as we go into the rest of the overnight, going into the very beginning of Wednesday morning. So just take it easy Wednesday morning. Remember, it's still winter, although we've had severe weather. It doesn't sometimes feel like winter when we just had 72 the other day. And as we head into Thursday night, going into Friday, and then into the weekend, we are tracking 2 weather systems and keeping a very, very close eye on that. This is weather system number 1. A Clipper-like weather system brings us a mix of rain and some wet snow for especially northern Wisconsin. But watch what happens as we head into Saturday, the Friday night going into Saturday. Some light snow breaking out from Minneapolis east-southeast to Madison, and then a stronger weather system rides along that boundary, bringing us perhaps accumulating snow to a good part of the upper Midwest, but the track of that weather system, as always, is going to be key. Where does that heavy snow set up? But there is a good likelihood in the upper Midwest, potentially here in southern Wisconsin, that we could be looking at winter making its one big last return here. Hopefully it's its last big return here as we head into the upcoming weekend, which is always par for the course.
Knew it.
Yep.
Just short of the basketball tournament. We always say that.
March Madness.
Exact same time. Thank you, Alex. In other news, a federal court has ordered the Trump administration restore hundreds of millions of dollars in disaster funding for Wisconsin. State Attorney General Josh Kaul says the order reverses FEMA's termination of the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities, or BRIC program. It helps communities strengthen infrastructure before disasters strike. FEMA's effort to cancel the BRIC program had resulted in the cancellation of dozens of projects across the state.
Well, now to the latest on the green and gold. The Packers have parted ways with a top free agency signing from a year ago at the cornerback position.
But the team has already located a replacement. News 3 Now senior Packers writer Jason Wilde has more on who's taking over.
The Green Bay Packers are officially on the NFL's free agent tote board. That's right, the Packers agreeing to terms on their first outside free agent of the 2-day free agency window. He is a former Los Angeles Chargers cornerback. His name is Benjamin St. Juste. Played his college football first at Michigan, then at Minnesota, so Big Ten fans may be familiar with him. Was a third-round pick back in 2021 by the Washington Commanders. Spent 4 years there and last season with the Chargers. He is 6'3". He becomes the Packers' tallest corner, and he gives them some options at a position of need. Now, he did not play a ton last year on defense for the Chargers, only about 35% of their snaps. He only started 2 games, but he also plays on special teams, so he fits the mold of exactly what the Packers are looking for at that position. Now, while one cornerback arrives, another one departs as the Packers move on from Nate Hobbs, who they signed in free agency a year ago, but endured a ton of injuries and inconsistent play in his 1 year with the Packers. Packers gained $8 million in salary cap space by making him a post-June 1 cut. We've got more on that story and everything else free agency as it relates to the Packers on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, be sure to sign up for our Packers newsletter, which delivers our coverage directly to your inbox. In Green Bay, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Jason, thank you. Andrew's here with a look at the rest of the day's sports news.
Yeah, still to come in sports. If the Bucks want any chance at a postseason push, well, the time is now. See if they could beat the Suns next on News 3 Now.
And now, News 3 Now Sports, brought to you by TDS.
If the Bucks want to make a playoff push, the time is now, but I'm not sure that anybody has mentioned that to them. They've lost 5 of their last 6 and 3 of their last 4 since that guy returned from injury. And early on, Kyle Kuzma was doing everything he could to make this W happen. Drains the layup, and he'd finish with a game-high 33. Later on, Giannis would try to do his part, but it just wouldn't be enough. Phoenix gets revenge in the 2021 NBA Finals rematch, winning it 129-114. And on Thursday, the Bucks play the Heat free and over the air on our sister station, Television Wisconsin. And speaking of Miami, how about this? The Heat's Bam Adebayo scores, get this, 83 points this evening. That's right, 83, the second most points in a single NBA game in NBA history, behind Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points in 1962 and surpassing Kobe Bryant for the second most points in a game all time. That's back when Kobe scored 81 in 2006. After getting snubbed his freshman and sophomore seasons, John Blackwell earned his very first All-Big Ten honors today, and his running mate Nick Boyd did too. He was named to the conference's second team. But the self-proclaimed best backcourt in the country is more focused on winning a conference title than all-conference honors.
I think I'm eager to get out there. To just play at the tournaments. It's going to be a great environment, and our guys are ready to play.
Every night, you're going to get your best shot from the best teams in the country, so you just got to bring an A game, and whoever outlasts the opponent, whoever has that competitive fire and does the little things will be victorious.
Well, the Big Ten tournament starts Thursday at 1:30 for the Badgers, at least. They'll play the winner of USC and Washington. Nash and I will be live from the United Center in Chicago, bringing you inside the locker room on everything Bucky. When the men's Big Ten hockey tournament kicks off tomorrow, it will look different than it has in the past. Instead of the old format of 3 weeks of best-of-3 series beginning this year, it's now a 2-week single elimination tournament. Wisconsin barely snuck in to the upper echelon, earning the right to host Ohio State in the quarterfinals tomorrow night in a do-or-die game as far as the Big Ten tourney goes. The 11th-ranked Badgers should be a lock for the NCAA tournament, but that's not a guarantee.
There is none, unless the matrix tells you you're 100% in no matter what happens. I've been around long enough and in this situation enough times. You focus on your process and what your next one up is, because that's all you're really guaranteed. We don't get to control that. We do get to control what happens here on Wednesday.
Well, Alex doesn't get to control the weather, but it is a guarantee that he'll be back for one final check of that first warn forecast when we return.
Now to a breaking news update after 3 Janesville schools had been placed on hold earlier today.
Janesville police say they have now arrested 2 people in connection with this incident. Police say the hold was the result of shots being fired on Clark Street. So as a precaution, St. John Vianney School, Roosevelt Elementary, and St. Paul's Lutheran schools were all placed in a hold. Just hours later, police conducted a search warrant on 2 homes where they found evidence related to the shooting. 2 men, 33 years old and 36 years old, were taken into custody.
Let's quickly get to Alex. Final check of the forecast.
Watching the tail end of the rest of the thunderstorms moving through southern Wisconsin, the good news is they are in the weakening phase. There's a tiny chance of a strong storm yet over the next hour or 2, and I will continue to track it through this evening.
All right, Alex, thank you. Thanks for watching News 3 Now at 10. Coming up next, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
And be sure to tune into our morning show at 4:30 to follow all of the weather. And you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+.